Hey everyone, so in this case study video here we're going to be looking at the Lifeline, and we're going to be looking at it in relation to a Romani Gypsy. I met this lady working at a festival and it was great because when I work at festivals I get to see all kinds of different people I wouldn't see clinically. Now the Lifeline shows how grounded somebody is, how rooted they are, it shows someone's sense of stability, it shows mental, psychological and physical stability, it shows how sturdy someone is and how capable and how supported they feel. Now when somebody has got a nomadic Romani Gypsy travelling lifestyle, of course it shows up in the Lifeline, and in this video we're going to be looking at her hand. So let's have a look.
Okay, so here are the hands. Now we're going to look at the Lifeline in some detail, but to start with let's just compare the two. If we look at her right hand, we can see that the Lifeline is actually slightly longer and clearer than it is on the left hand. So what we can see is that this lady is right-handed, and her Lifeline on her right hand shows how she functions in the outer world, and the left Lifeline shows how she's functioning internally. So when the Lifeline is stronger on the external hand, it means that this lady is going to feel pretty good wherever she is. She's going to feel very comfortable. She's going to feel very stable. However, because it's weaker on the left hand, it shows that internally, give it a bit of time and she's going to feel a bit restless. She's not going to feel quite as good long term. This is the classic example of somebody who's going to feel wherever they lay their head is home, but then they're going to want to keep on moving. So it's a very traveller-esque Lifeline pattern to have. Somebody who's very stable in the external, but needs to keep on moving and changing because internally they haven't got a strong Lifeline which keeps them fixed and keeps them rooted. Now, if we zoom into the hands a bit, we can see that there is this really scratchy, broken, overlapping part to the Lifeline. And it's actually in exactly the same region on the left hand as it is the right hand. If we're to do this chronologically, this would be from about 20 to 30 if we're spanning that decade. And it's very unusual to see a Lifeline that's quite so scratchy and overlappy and broken for quite such a long period, and equally on both hands as well. When I asked her about this, she said that her 20s were quite a difficult time for her and she was all over the place. She was living in London and she told me that she moved home 17 times during those 10 years. She would wake up one day, be living in Crystal Palace, and then suddenly feel like, I want to go to Ealing. And then she'd pack up her things and then go live in Ealing. And then 3 months later, she'd get bored of Ealing and then want to go move to Brixton. And she would do this constantly for a 10-year period. And we can see the way in which it's affected her. When the Lifeline is like this, it's scratchy, it's broken, and there's no consistency to it. It just shows that there's no consistency to the person's stability or their routine. During this 10-year period, her sleep patterns are going to be all over the place. There's going to be times in which she's staying up all night, not sleeping at all, not eating very much. The body isn't going to have any routine. Psychologically, there isn't going to be any sense of root or stability. And then, of course, emotionally and mentally, that's really going to affect how she's feeling. And whenever anybody's got a scratchy patch of the Lifeline like this, it's a very difficult time for them because they don't feel stable and they don't feel supported or secure. So it's very telling when it's on both hands for this period of time. And this would have been a really challenging time for her, where she would have not really had any resolve to properly take care and support herself. What we can see though is after this patch, at about the age of 30, the Lifeline does get stronger and clearer, and this coincided with when her life started to calm down. She started to become more stable and she started to find more of a routine in what she's doing. And now at her current age and where she's at the moment in life, because she still does have this shorter Lifeline on the left hand, we can see that routine and stability is still an issue. However, it is more structured than what it used to be. And what she does now is she spends 6 months living in the UK, and she spends 6 months abroad, sometimes in India, sometimes in Morocco, but all the time living in a caravan. So she does have this mobile lifestyle, as seen by the lack of lifeline at the bottom of the left hand. There's always this sense of moving, there's always this sense of internal mobility. However, externally, because of the lifeline being longer on the right hand, she does feel secure temporarily wherever she is. But overall, working on routine, working on being grounded, and getting that balance between having enough freedom but then not feeling like you've got any structure, but then not having any freedom because you feel you've got too much structure, is something she really needs to play with and work on a bit, because there is still a sense that she could be more grounded and could be more stable. So there we go, that is the lifeline and hands of a Romani gypsy, somebody who spent their whole life travelling. If we're to just look at another couple of elements on the hand that make it the way it is, it's a fire-shaped hand because of the slightly shorter fingers and the scratchy quality to the lines and the narrow palm. Fire is about excitement and stimulation. So, I mean, it's an amazing amount of times to move 17 times. I don't think I'll ever meet anybody again who's moved house 17 times. And of course, when somebody's got a fire hand, they do need that excitement and stimulation. So that kind of fits there. The other thing to notice is she's got quite a short headline on both hands. This is somebody who's going to be very impulsive in the way that they think. It's going to be somebody who's very intuitive with their approach to things. So for somebody to move house 17 times, they're going to have a very impulsive, intuitive, excitable nature. So just looking at a couple of extra things to put that together there. I hope this video makes sense. If you have any questions, please leave them in the comments box, and I look forward to seeing you next time.